Well, hey, everybody. Getting ready to record Mike in the Midwest, episode 200 already. Holy smokes. Here we go. Oops, it's not going to work. Let's fix that. Doop. Hey, there's the columns. Come on, Mizzou. Let's do this. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to episode number 200 of Mike in the Midwest, our mini podcast for the amazing patrons just like you of the Be Our Guest podcast. Of course, my name is Mike Rallman, host of the Be Our Guest podcast, and you can find me on the socials at Be Our Guest Mike, and would love to talk to you this week on Twitter/X. So, give me a follow over there. I would love that this week. Just Be Our Guest Mike over there. Also Instagram. You can same name, Be Our Guest Mike, and Threads as well. But the place you can find me all the time is hanging out in the Be Our Guest Podcast Clubhouse. If you're not there, you need to get over there because we have conversations happening 24/7 all the time. You have a question, we have answers. I don't know what the product was. It used to say that, but that is exactly what we have. We have folks asking, should I stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge instead of Art of Animation? That was happening at 5:30 this morning when I was walking on the treadmill. An answer within an hour. Shout out Trisha up in Wisconsin for having that conversation. It is amazing. So how do you get there? beourguestpodcast.com/discord. Come on over. I'll give you a personal welcome. I promise you that in the welcome center. And boom, you'll be off. We have all kinds of channels for sports. We have channels for DVC members, channels for international parks, channels for dining, the resorts, the theme parks, everything. Come on over. Let's have some fun. But happy Sunday to you. Hope you're doing well wherever you're tuned in. As always, I just want to say a shout out. Thank you for being a patron of the Be Our Guest podcast. Your $5 donation, whatever it is per month, really does help us pay the bills, helps us with all of our video hosting. We do a lot of podcasting, and that takes a lot of bandwidth. It takes a lot of it's more cost than I think a lot of shows incur because we like to do what we do. I like to do it. Podcasting is my jam. I've been doing this since 2008, over 2,500 episodes at this time. Think about this episode 200 of just this little sideshow. We've done 2,500 of the big show. I love this, and it never gets old. This is my fun little place to go and talk to you guys and to get to talk to folks around the world. Otherwise, my world would be very small here in mid Missouri, here in mid United States of America. But because of you guys supporting the show, I have friends literally around the planet Earth, and I just want to say thank you to that. Thank you for that. So today we're going to talk about how 1 week ago things kind of went haywire. So today the show is going to be a little bit about me, Mike in the Midwest, right? And we're going to talk about childhood things towards the end. I'm going to talk about some of those things as I was reflecting on things this morning. Somebody mentioned collectibles. And I started thinking about those like cheap things that I collected as a kid, because I never had expensive things to collect, but I had a lot of cheap collectibles. And I wonder if you had some of these things. That way we can get some feedback for next week. So I wonder what you collected when you were a kid, like the knickknack things that didn't cost a lot of money, but they were special to you. You kind of maybe kept them in your drawer. You kept them in a box. I mean, we used to have those cardboard, they're like basically like cigar boxes, but they had like the 50 states on them or like a sport team or something like that. But anyway, I always start off here by talking about what's happening around the Be Our Guest podcast studios. So you guys have probably seen it because I know a lot of you guys hang out with me in the clubhouse over on the Discord channel. So last week I was kind of battling through. You guys know I run 4 days a week. I walk the other 3 on the treadmill. And I've been doing this for years and years. And runners get blisters, not a big deal. It's weird because the thing is, I run on the treadmill and I wear the same pair of shoes. So every once in a while, I will get bit by a blister, which is bizarre to me because I was a science teacher, right? So I'm all about variables. There's not a lot of variables when you're a treadmill runner and you wear the same equipment because like I could see it if I was outside because the temperature's different. It might be rainy. There's so many more variables when you go outside. This is why I like the treadmill. You take all variables out of the equation. You don't have to worry about, what clothes am I going to wear? It doesn't matter because you're downstairs in the basement. You don't have to worry about what time is the sunrise and, January compared to June. When I used to run outside, you had to think about all these things. It took a lot of bandwidth in your brain the night before. Look at the forecast. Okay, what are we going to do if it rains? With a treadmill, you don't have to worry about any of that. You just go downstairs, you just wear what you went to sleep in and do your miles. It's super, takes so much work out of everything. Anyway, every once in a while, I'll get a blister. So I got a blister on my right foot. And I don't know, this is just me being me. With any injury that I ever get, I always just try to power on through and, blisters tend to go away, right? They just, blister pop, boom, goes away, blah, blah, blah. Well, Paige was home for all of last week, which is a true blessing because it's nice to have. I've said this on the show many times. As a parent, the best thing you can have is your whole family under one roof. So they were having a week where the coaches were not allowed to be in contact with any potential recruits. It was a dead period for recruiting in college sports. So they couldn't do that. So the head coach went on vacation to Mexico. Paige came home. We hung out. And so, of course, last Sunday was Mother's Day, right? So we had the live call-in show. And I was telling Scott before the show, I'm like, Scott, dude, I got this blister on my foot. This is kind of behind the scenes here, but you guys are the patrons, so this is your show. And I'm sorry if this is what you tuned in for, but I mean, I like to give you guys the 411 because you guys kind of own the show with me. We're all co-conspirators in the Be Our Guest podcast. So we do the call-in show, but before the call-in show, I told Scott, I was like, Scott, dude, this is like a couple hours before the show. I was like, we're gonna do the show, man. I was like, man, my foot's killing me. He's like, Scott told me, he's like, you don't have to do the show. Like, he's like, if your foot's hurting that bad, I'm like, dude, it's a foot. I can still do a podcast. Like, seriously, you sit down and you talk for a podcast. For the love of God, we're doing a podcast. I love the call-in show. The call-in shows are my favorite, to be honest, because it's like radio, right? You get calls, you don't know where they're going to go. I get to hang out with Scott. Like, dude, the Sunday nights are my favorite. I'm like, we're doing the show. So during the show, I don't know if you noticed, I had my leg for part of it propped up on this stool in the studio because the only way I could get it to stop throbbing was to get it like elevated. Okay. So I did that. And when the show was over, now here's how bad it was. Normally before the show, I go get Taco Bell every Sunday, which I probably will do tonight. We might make hot dogs tonight. Pam got hot dogs. And that's a whole nother story, which I'll get to in a minute. So I didn't even eat before the podcast on Sunday. So on Mother's Day, Pam has a favorite pizza. It's this place that it's called Peroni's Pizza. It's an Italian pizza. It's her favorite pizza place in St. Louis. So Paige went and picked up her favorite pizza while I was doing the live show so we could all eat pizza right after the show. So that was awesome. And so after the show, I go upstairs. We sit at the kitchen table. I don't know where Mallory was, but it was, I think Mallory was working or something. No, she was with a friend, but it was just Paige and Pam and I. We're eating the pizza, having salad. And I was telling Paige, I was like, God, I said, my foot is just, I was telling her about the live. She's asking about the live show. I was like, yeah, I did the live show. I was like, my foot was killing me. I had to have it up on a stool. And I said, it's red hot right now. I said, it's killing me. And I'm sitting there trying to eat my pizza and I'm not even eating that much. And they knew something's up when I'm not even eating. And I'm eating a little, but not much. So Paige is like, let me see it. Because, Paige works in college athletics and she sees all these, athletes with their stuff. And she sees my foot and she's like, oh man, oh my God, you're going to be dead by the morning. She's like, you got to get that thing. You got to get that looked at. So my foot was like super swollen and it had like started like moving up to the ankle, like up almost to the leg. And so my wife this is the real quick story. My wife's like, okay, we got to do something about that. So she got me a one of those teledoctor visits where you do like a FaceTime with a doctor. So she says you got to get an antibiotic. Pam's or Paige is like, that's infected. You gotta get an antibiotic. That'll wipe that out. I'm like, I can do an antibiotic. That's fine. If you think that's what it is, I can take a couple pills, zip zap zoom. I'm good. And I'd already told Scott, I'm like, I'm gonna take Monday and Tuesday off because this thing hurts like crazy. And when I say I'm not gonna walk or run, dude, that means it's like red alert, right? Red alert. This thing hurts. So anyway, I'm like, Pam calls, like, I don't know what she did. She got on her phone. This is Mother's Day again, and schedules this teledoctor, and they call back within like 20 minutes. Like, it was fast. I was shocked at how great the medical thing was, because I mean, she scheduled it, and 20 minutes later, I'm holding my phone. This doctor's on like FaceTime with me. She asked me like 5 questions, and like took one look at my foot. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll be going to Walgreens, right? And getting my medicine. Nope. She's like, I can't um prescribe you any medicine. You have to go immediately to the ER. That thing could be, I forget, sepsis or something, or I forget what it was. So I was like, great. You're kidding me. I just want to get medicine. You're right. It's a blister, but it hurts, but it's a blister. So long story short, boom, ER. Had to get all the, go there. And you know how that is. At least it was only 2 hours at this time. Like, they did blood work and all that stuff. And long story short, I had to go to the doctor a couple times this week. It's a big staph infection in my foot. And so it's getting better. It's a lot better. I've walked, I've run a couple times now this week. So thanks everybody for all the, kind words in the thing. But here's the other thing. Here's where your week does not take you where you're expecting it to go from Sunday to Sunday, right? This was last Sunday when I did Mike in the Midwest to this Sunday. Some of you have been with the show for quite a long time. Now, back in 2016, you may remember that I had some issues with I had to get iron infusions because I had lost too much weight and all that stuff too fast, because I was trying to get better with my running and get super competitive. Because I went to the ER to get all this stuff done with my foot, they did blood work because they're looking for the infections and all that stuff and make sure everything was okay. Well, they found out that the anemia is back. So now I have to go for the iron infusions again and all that stuff. So it's one of those things where the week does not take you where you expect. So while the blister that caused all this, because I'm a bonehead and kept powering through on the treadmill, led me to go to the ER and get all this done. Now the blister is going to be gone probably in a couple days, which is, thank God. I mean, it's still purple and still infected a little bit, but it's getting there because I'm taking these super powerful pills for the staph infection. But I'll be going to the hospital for these iron infusions now for the next little bit. And I mean, that should help me too, because I've been freezing for the last couple of months in the house all the time. And I mean, there are symptoms that I've just kind of not really taken super serious. So in the end, everything should be okay. But what I wanted to bring this to is a couple things. Is that one, it's funny how it seems like it's been a month since last Sunday for me. And it's nothing serious. I just want to say this. This is absolutely nothing serious. It's a blister on a foot with an infection that people get all the time. There's so many more serious things. And this like iron infusion stuff and all that, that's not serious either. That's just like, I went through that in 2016. It is seriously not that serious. It helps you feel better and helps you get more red blood cells in your body. But here's the thing. Here's why I wanted to bring this up, is that maybe things happen for a reason. I've been thinking about this week. Besides the fact that I think I got the blister so that maybe that I got my blood work done for the first time in like 7 years, because I don't go to the doctor all that much. And maybe they caught this because it was trending kind of fast. So maybe they caught it at just the right time. But here's the other thing I wanted to mention. because of this, for the first like 4 days, 5 days, I couldn't even walk or run. And that killed me to not be able to get up because I always get up at 4:45, get on the treadmill first thing. I slept in until Pam got up at 7 o'clock for those days. And let me tell you, that was glorious. I had not slept in until 7 o'clock in years. And that was, oh, that felt good. But because I couldn't do like walk or run, I sat on our deck because I have a lounger on our deck, and I sat and watched the hummingbird um take nectar out of the hummingbird feeder. I saw a couple of deer walk through our backyard. I've been listening to the cicada off our deck. I've been reading a few books on my iPad. Um, it's forced me to slow down and actually have time to enjoy life a little bit and not spend so much time with my running and my walking. And my doctor has encouraged me to kind of cut back on the miles. And I am one that is, if you know me, when I do something, my personality, this is me talking to you, and maybe this is something that you are like me. I don't know, because I know that I know a lot of our listeners because I've got to meet you guys in person over the years. And if I haven't met you in person, I know that there's a few of you that I've talked to you via email, via socials over the years. I know there's a few of you that have the same personality trait as me because we've talked over the years. Is that if you're gonna do something, you go all in. You go like both feet blazing into the project, into the hobby, whatever it is. I know a lot of us are this way. And this has absolutely been me my whole life. With the podcast, for example, right? I started this podcast in 2008, and I wanted it to always be the best it could be. I never wanted it to be just a podcast. I wanted it to be enjoyable for my audience every single show. I want every Monday show to be fun for the person who's sharing their story. I want them to have a good time recording it. I want them to laugh. I want them to have a good time, like, oh, I got to share that story about my grandchild or my significant other. I want them to have fun sharing their story. But then I want thousands of people to, when they hear that story on their Monday morning drive in, or, Thursday afternoon, when they finally have a chance to listen, when they're mowing the grass on a hot July day, I want them to say, oh, that's such a sweet story. I'm glad I got to hear that. And I hope I get to go, maybe have that ice cream at Animal Kingdom someday. I want it to be something that people are proud to listen to, that they're proud to participate in. And, with the clubhouse, with the Discord channel, that they're proud to be a part of that community, that they're glad to answer questions for newbies that are going to Disney for the first time. Or, excuse me, or just, hang out. And, that's been my personality. And with my running, it's always been, I don't know, maybe never enough. Cause over the past year and a half, I've averaged way too many miles per day. If you look at my health app on the Apple thing. So I am going to cut back here for a little while and see how my body does, because I think I need to put a few less miles on the body and see how the body reacts. So that sometimes I feel like when I don't go max effort all the time, that I'm just shorting myself. But I think at some point, you have to say, like, I don't even know what I'm saying here. Maybe you guys could help me here. This is kind of a two-way street, right? I'm going to try to just cut back and see what happens, but that's hard for me. I have a hard time cutting back with anything. I always want to give 100% effort. I always want to do that with hockey. I want to do that with speed skating. I wanted to do that with teaching. I always want to be the best teacher in the building. Um, it's my competitive nature. When I'm on that treadmill, I just want to go one more mile. When I'm walking, I just want to go one more mile. When I'm running, one more mile. It's only 10 more minutes, but I'm going to try to fight that demon. So, but here's the thing. The clubhouse has helped me, and it's you guys that have really helped me this past week, because you were kind, you were checking in. And here's the thing too. You guys were asking, how are you doing over in the clubhouse, in that thread in the Run Disney Corrals channel? And that was so good for me. It was so kind. People cared. You guys were asking, like, how the doctor's appointment go, or, how's your foot doing, or how are you feeling, and being able to have that community in the Discord was awesome because I had so much downtime that I could sit there and have somebody to talk to all the time. So thank you for being there. I just wanted to say thank you for being there because this was a really weird and wild week for me. But and I know this isn't the most exciting Mike in the Midwest episode ever. And please don't go away after this episode because I just wanted to be able to say thank you because this has been a very, very bizarre week for me. But I wanted to get in here and say thank you because it really does mean a lot to me. And also think about it. Sometimes when you have a situation like this, there are so many blessings that come this way. Scott immediately texted me and said, brother, how you doing? Wade from Nebraska, you hear him on the live call-in shows. He immediately texted me, how you doing, man? How you doing? And related a similar situation that he has gone through. It's funny because when you don't realize the friends you have and basically their family when they care about you like that. So I just it's you guys. You guys really did help me throughout. And like I said, this isn't serious, but it meant a lot that you guys rallied with me and gave me a support system this week when I was just going stir crazy. Nothing serious, but I was going stir crazy. And I just want you guys to know, you allow me to do this podcast, and this podcast means a lot to me, and you guys mean a lot to me. And I will always give 100% effort to this show. So yes, we'll do a Sunday night show. So be there tonight. We'll talk tonight. I think we're going to talk Disney Quest is one of the things I want to talk about. There's something else. We're talking about it over in the Discord, so I'll find it. But give us a call tonight. Let's talk. I don't need my foot for that. My foot's actually better. We'll figure it out. Okay, so let's get to the feedback from last week. Last week, we only had one piece of feedback from Trisha. She's the host of our trivia over in the Discord. She says, I never claim being a trivia expert on anything, so I don't have to feel pressure from my teammates. That way, I can wow them with my dazzling mind. Unfortunately, we had clouds Friday night, so we couldn't see the northern lights. By the time the sky cleared Saturday night, it had faded and there wasn't much to see, though my husband swears he could see purple and green. My grandma Florence was a saint. She never raised her voice and had an unending supply of patience. She also always knew what to say to make you think when you were facing problems. She passed away years ago, but I still miss her calming presence. Thankfully, my mother-in-law is cut from a similar cloth, and we've had some great discussions, especially concerning parenting. It's awesome to have somebody like that in your family, isn't it? Yeah, there's so many times I wish I could go back to my grandma Ruth and just have, one more sit down at the kitchen table, because I sat with grandma at the kitchen table so many times. And we talked, but we never talked about anything serious. My grandma always had Judge Wapner on. She always would say Wapner, People's Court, right? She would always have People's Court on. she had a regular TV in the living room, but she had this little bitty, like 13-inch TV on what she called her snack bar, which was just like a little counter in her little house. And she would sit at her little kitchen table and watch Wapner in her kitchen with a little bitty TV. And I just remember sitting there, because she'd lived a couple blocks over from us. And like, maybe I'd go over after high school if I was driving just to have somewhere to go and swing into grandma's, because she always had cookies. God, I loved grandma's chocolate chip cookies. So I'd swing through there, grab a couple cookies, sit down with grandma, and we wouldn't talk about much. I probably only stay like 15 minutes. And Wapner would always be on. I guess it'd be after school, 4:30, something like that. And yeah, it was just good. But I mean, the thing is, like, she left that legacy. Like, I'm smiling right now just thinking about it. What did we talk about? I don't know. Didn't matter. But I'd love to do that one more time. All right. Let's talk about one more thing today. I was thinking about this today. And shout out to Jesse on YouTube. Thank you for that. That means a lot over in the UK. Our UK friends are killing it lately. I love you guys. I got to get over the UK. Besides the fact that I love fish and chips and I drown it in malt vinegar. But you guys are the bomb. So today I was thinking, I was on the treadmill this morning walking. Hard head, right? I should probably not be doing that, but I did this morning because I'm a dummy. But collectibles. When you're a kid, right? And I'm talking like elementary school age. I was thinking about the things because I grew up late 70s, early 80s, that age, I don't know, it seemed like they really marketed to us to like collect things. And the biggest thing that we collected, like my generation, were baseball cards, of course. And I still have my baseball cards. That's the one thing I have. So those things are cool. And when I was younger, I thought for sure these things are going to be worth $1 million. I don't think they're worth anything, but I do have them in like that cardboard box, like filing box. So they are put away. Maybe I have a few that are worth something. I don't know. I have like Mattingly. I have like Eric Davis. I have a few that are probably worth $2 or something. I don't know. I'd have to go look. But I was thinking about those things that we collected that were kind of fun. So like kind of off the wall. So I'm curious because I want you to let me know what you collected when you were a kid that was kind of fun, that you really enjoyed. And one of the things I was thinking about that I collected, and so did my sister, we each had one, was that we both had sticker books. Did you have a sticker book when you were a kid? I remember mine. My sister and I both had one, and it was basically like it was a book that had like waxy pages, like each page was kind of wax covered and brightly colored book, and it had trying to think, probably about 30 pages or so as I'm looking back on it. God, this is about 40, this is over 40 years ago. And it had that plasticky spine to it that held it together, like a yellow plasticky spine. And you would just put your stickers like on each page. I think each page had like a theme or something. But as you got stickers, I remember because like, we got I, I went to a private Christian school, and I swear like you were paid off by the teachers and stickers. So if you got 100% on a test or you got an A, boom, there was always a sticker on that test. And I just remember carefully peeling back that sticker, and then you would take it home, boom, and then replace it and put it in your sticker book. And it was always fun about your organization of your stickers, almost like your organization of your baseball cards. Because I used to organize my baseball cards by like American League, National League, American League East, National League East, National League West, and stuff like that. It was fun. But yeah, you would put your stickers in your sticker book and put them, and you had scratch and sniff, you had puffy stickers, you had those like holographic stickers. I mean, there was all kinds of stickers. So you would, organize them and so forth, and you kind of take them off, take them back. You can do it a couple times, but sticker books were something that, I mean, in my circle of friends here in St. Louis, that was a big deal. Did you guys have sticker books? Another thing that I remember collecting that I don't even know if you guys had these Happy Meal toys were like the source of a lot of collectibles for us because again, we didn't have a ton of money growing up, but we did go to McDonald's a lot for some reason. One of the reasons was I played a lot of baseball, and whenever we played in a tournament, we would always meet at McDonald's like before the tournament started, and we'd carpool to the tournament site. So we'd grab McDonald's before. One of the things I remember collecting at McDonald's were these toys called, I think they were called like Playmobiles or something. They were like little people that had hands that looked like little U's, like little claws. And I had a bunch of those. They're weird looking little people though, that Playmobil or Mobile or something. But I had a bunch of those. I don't know why that popped into my head that I collected those, but I didn't have a ton. I probably had 10. So I had those. And another thing that I collected from McDonald's were McNugget buddies. I don't know if you remember those, but they were like chicken McNuggets, but they were almost like the Village People or something. They had like a cop. I could be totally, I gotta look this up, but they had like outfits, like a fireman, a cop. I gotta look this up. This could be totally wrong. I gotta look this up, but they were called McNugget buddies, and I don't know what the other ones were, but I swore one was a cop and one was a fireman. Like they had occupations. I thought there was a teacher, but McNugget buddies were another thing that I collected. Another thing I collected, I think every boy of my generation collected Hot Wheels or Matchbox for cars. Um, the thing I always wanted because my friend across the street, Ryan, had it. He had like the deluxe Matchbox like storage box kit, like that it had looked like a luggage set. Like it had the handle, it had a compartment for every car. You could put the cars in there. And I think too, now that I think about this, I'm breaking this down a little bit too much. is that organization was kind of a fun thing for young kids when it came to your collections, because I didn't have that box or anything near that, which I always wanted. I always kind of envied his collector's box for his Matchbox toy or Hot Wheels cars. I just had like I don't even know what I kept mine in, I think I kept like in a pillowcase. But he had like the official one that had like the pictures of the cars on the outside and had, Velcroed shut or something, or it was like a suitcase. And each it had the little cubbies, and you could organize them. Like he did them by color. Sometimes he did them by like trucks and hot rods and all that kind of stuff. But organization was fun because you could just take them out and keep, doing them different ways. And that was a way to play with your Hot Wheels. So that was another thing that I collected was Matchbox and Hot Wheels. And I want to say Matchbox were the cheap ones. And I think I have more of those than the Hot Wheels. One of them was like the discount brand. I can't remember. I'll have to look that up too. But of course, one of those was cheaper. Here's another thing. Now, I didn't have a lot of these. I think I had 5, but I loved these. I don't know if you had these. They were called Stompers. So these were like Hot Wheels, kind of, but they were bigger. So they were like little pickup trucks. Now my dad had a mini truck that had like a light truck, right? Like it was called a Datsun. Back in the day, Nissan was called Datsun when I was a kid. And it was a little brown, like light pickup truck. And that's what these were modeled after. And you put like one AA battery in them, and they would just drive forward, and you could change the tires. They had little foamy tires on them. You didn't like steer them or anything. You just turned them on and they went forward, and they were called Stompers. You could put like really strong tires on, or like a little foamy tires, and they would like go over pencils and stuff. But look at YouTube commercials are out there, but Stompers, and they looked like little Toyota trucks or Nissan trucks. They were cool. I had like 5 of them. I got them for my birthday and Christmas. And I love these little suckers. So I collected Stompers as well. So that's kind of a few of the things that I was thinking about that I collected as a kid. But I want to know, like, what were the things that you collected? Like when Paige was little, she was obsessed, and we still have all these, which is ridiculous. She was obsessed with collecting just those rubber bouncy balls. And we probably have a box that has 300 random bouncy balls in it. They're not even expensive bouncy balls. Like every time we went to a pizza place or something, she would buy a bouncy ball at one of those machines where you drop the quarter in and you get a bouncy ball. I mean, they're just basically all those, marble. They look like the marble coloring on them. They're nothing special. But when she was like, from the time she was like 4 till probably like till she could drive, she always wanted to collect bouncy balls. And we have a box. Probably, I'm not kidding, of probably 300. What are we going to do with these things? We should probably do something cool with them, because like 300 bouncy balls all at once would be pretty fun, especially with like a slow-mo camera. I should actually probably do something with that. Actually, I think I'm onto something. But that's what Paige collected. But what did you collect? Especially from like our era back in the day. Was it stickers? Was it like, for a while there when I was working at the skating rink, all the kids were collecting something called Pogs. Those were like bottle caps, and we had like tournaments and stuff. I was past my time, but what did you collect that were like, and I like the inexpensive things, right? The inexpensive things that we could all afford to actually make a collection. Like sometimes you want to collect something, but if, one item's $50, how can you really have a big collection of something when they're that expensive when you're a kid? So let's hit the memories for next Sunday. Let's see how it goes. And let me just kind of close out this show by saying, you guys are awesome. Not only do you support the podcast, you allow the podcast to continue here. 16 years we've been doing this, and it is truly because of your support. But more than that, this week especially, thanks for being a friend. Thank you for being there with me. Thank you for supporting everything we do, and just thank you for your kind words and just encouragement. I appreciate you guys always being there, and I hope you'll be there tonight for the live call-in show. Give me a call. All right. Have a good week. We'll talk to you soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.